one group. So I've been getting a question recently regarding the appraisal contingency and the loan contingency in our RPA. So this is the question. I have a buyer, they're in contract, and the property didn't appraise for the agreed upon purchase price. Buyer did not renegotiate or cancel during the appraisal contingency, but later on down the line, they used the loan contingency as a way to try to cancel because they do not have the funds, the difference between the purchase price and what the property appraised for, to close the transaction. So they try to use the loan contingency to say, hey, I can't get the loan because I don't have the funds to close due to the property not appraising, right? So it can get a little tricky, but we have to remember these are two separate contingencies. And the buyer, remember, the buyer had every opportunity in their appraisal contingency, if the property did not appraise for the agreed upon sales price, to renegotiate or cancel. So as soon as the buyer moved past that appraisal contingency timeline, they basically have agreed to pay the difference between the appraisal and the agreed upon purchase price. So to go now to the loan contingency and try to use that as a reason for not being able to close on the transaction, a seller is going to argue that. They're going to say, no, buyer, you should have canceled in the appraisal contingency time frame, right? Because now you're trying to say you can't get the loan because the property didn't appraise, and you had every opportunity to renegotiate or cancel during the appraisal contingency. If the parties cannot agree, of course, they can always go to mediation and or seek legal counsel, but you can't overlap two contingency periods, right? There's an appraisal contingency period that if the buyer not being able to close has to do with that appraisal, then the appraisal contingency period is going to be the key to that cancellation, okay, or renegotiation. The loan contingency would be if there was another reason the buyer could not get the loan, but you can't use the appraisal in the loan contingency because the buyer already had that option, okay? So there's a little broker insight for the week. Have a great weekend, everybody. Talk soon.